Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is a paid request from my friend Efree. He wanted a commentary, which I'll get to very soon, on Drive with Ryan Gosling. But he also wanted my thoughts on this series of videos that Scott Adkins has on YouTube called The Art of Action. And it's hard to review that, but it's more of, I guess, sort of a shout out to people out there who like Scott Adkins, who like action films. If you haven't heard of this, like I said, Scott Adkins has a YouTube channel. And I've enjoyed Scott Adkins in a lot of movies, whether it be Avengement, Undisputed 2, Undisputed 3, and 4. Ninja Shadow of a Tear. You know, Scott Adkins, talented martial artist. I think he's getting better as an actor. And he has this YouTube series where he has interviewed people like Lauren Avedon from Team of the Kickboxers, No Retreat, No Surrender 2. He's interviewed Mark Dacascos. He interviewed the director of John Wick 3, Chad Stahelski. And I'm curious to see what he'll do next. I hope he'll interview people like Jeff Speakman or Oliver Gruner. We'll see, but it'd be interesting to see what happens next. I would say that definitely, Michael Jai White is another one. Michael Jai White, that's a very fun interview because him and Scott Adkins work together quite a bit, and they have a fun, entertaining banter with each other. I would say that's the first one to watch, is the Scott Adkins, Michael Jai White, when Scott interviews him. There's fun moments, like when they look at an old film of Michael Jai White and this really iffy, crappy fight scene, they commentate over it. Stuff like that was a lot of fun. Part of me wishes it was longer. Like with Michael Jai White interview, I wish Scott would go over more of Michael's films. Like, hey, let's talk about Spawn. Let's talk about Blood and Bone. Blood and Bone. Let's talk about this. But it's mainly just interviewing Michael's thoughts on certain things. I like that during these interviews, you do get into things that we, the viewer, think of when it comes to action films. For example, about how crappy certain films are directed in terms of action. You could tell, I forget which interview it was, but he talks about how the Bourne films, they really set us back. I forget what interview that was, but Scott says that. I'm like, yes, thank you, Scott Adkins. Thank you for saying that, because I feel the same way. That, yes, it did set us back in the whole shaky cam, quit stuff. And you really feel and get a sense of Scott Adkins' passions for these films, and that he is a fan. Like Scott Adkins talking about his love of Lauren Avedon's films like Team of the Kickboxers and No Retreat, No Surrender 2, and going in depth on those movies. That was a lot of fun. And then Mark Dacascos. Yes, the Mark Dacascos interview, I wish some of these interviews were longer or had part 2s to them. Because with Mark Dacascos, I would love to have heard Scott's thoughts on like Double Dragon. They interview him about that, or some other stuff. But they do talk about Mark getting into martial arts, how Mark Dacascos' first film was a movie called Dim Sum with Joan Chen, and then he was cut out of it. Talking about Only the Strong, Drive, which Scott Adkins says Drive is perhaps the best American martial arts film. So Scott's a big fan of Drive, as am I. Deserves a Blu-ray. Talks about John Wick 3 and asks Mark how was it working with Keanu Reeves. And Mark Dacascos seems like a genuinely nice guy. And again, with the interviews, you get a nice sense of banter, enjoyment between the participants. And I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't want to give it away. The fun is you viewing it and finding info out for yourself. So I don't want to give too much. But yeah, like I said, with the Mark Dacascos interview, I wish it was longer. Like Crying Freeman, really all they talk about is Well, that's the movie that Mark met his wife on. There was more in-depth, and there was certain films talked about. That's with every interview, honestly. But yeah, if you like Scott Adkins, you like action films, his Art of Action series is really interesting, really fun to watch. Yeah, I would recommend especially the Michael Jai White, the Lauren Avedon, and the Marta Costas interviews, but go watch all of them. They're all pretty interesting. Chad Stahelski, interesting stuff in that. Like Chad Stahelski goes on a rant about how people in Hollywood, they look down on action directors. It's like, okay, you didn't direct people talking, but you know what? Can you direct people fighting? Can you direct an action scene? Like, you did some of these directors that don't know shit. Well, he doesn't say it that way, but they don't know how to direct. That was a pretty fun bit with the director John Wick 3. And Chad talks about Brandon Lee, because I think he was the person that had to step in for Brandon Lee when that accident happened on The Crow. So that was interesting. You tell that Scott throughout these interviews, he really has a love, appreciation of Brandon Lee, which is nice because Scott does bring up Brandon Lee a few times throughout these, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I don't want to give too much away. Check out The Art of Action by Scott Adkins. Yeah, I hope one day he does, Jeff Speakman, interviews him, and Oliver Gruner. The big deal would be Jean-Claude Van Damme, because they've worked together. I don't know if he could ever get I mean, if anyone could, it'd be Scott Adkins, so we'll see. Dolph Lundgren, that's the guy he should get. Scott, if somehow you see this, please get Dolph Lundgren. If there's a top 5, get Dolph Lundgren, Jeff Speakman, Oliver Gruner, if you can, Van Damme. Jeff Wincott would be nice. Don't get Steven Seagal, though. Don't get Steven Seagal. Trust me, Scott. I've never met the guy, but I've watched all of his movies. I've read up all about Steven Seagal. Don't even try to get Steven Seagal. You will regret it. As in, you'll be banging your head against the wall talking to Steven Seagal. So, of course, we'd witness it, but yeah, don't get Steven Seagal. You'll be sorry, because you'll in your head go, fuck. But yeah, check out The Art of Action with Scott Adkins. If I can remember, I'll put the link down below to his channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye bye.